So, hello and welcome to the Dharma.life podcast. I'm your host, Aloise.life Middleton. And this week we have with us a female version of Indiana Jones. She is a woman who has inspired me for a long time. I've followed her on all the socials, Facebook and Instagram, and I've watched her journey. And she is a Norwegian explorer, a lady who has done 7 summits and 7 volcanoes. Is that right, Siv?
Yeah, I'm missing one of the 7 volcanoes. So in 1 year, I hope to complete.
Wow, well, that's an incredible achievement. And you call yourself, you've been called, rather than you call yourself, you've been called the female Indiana Jones, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, and so growing up in Norway, I presume that adventure was in your blood, was it?
it's like yes and no because we have the mountains very close, and I've been skiing and outdoors and full of activities ever since I was a child. But the type of activities that I do that are quite extreme, that was never part of anybody I knew. And I think like if somebody told me that I would climb Everest when I was growing up, I think I thought that they will be crazy, because it was never a dream of mine. It's something that's come later in life.
Because you had quite a successful corporate career, really, didn't you? You started in corporate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
can you?
was a management consultant for many, many years and had a leadership position within that. And yeah, worked for companies like PwC, IBM, and then later I moved on to head of HR in the finance industry. So did quite well, actually.
And how did you get the adventure bug?
Well, me and a friend had taken 3 months off work to travel South and Central Americas. And then we went first into the Amazon jungle for, experiencing that and seeing everything that was there. And then it's so humid and hot and sweaty, and you have all these mosquito bites and everything. So it was a little bit like, yeah, it's nice, but And then we went to do the Inca Trail. And when I saw the mountains, you could see them snow capped, and it's so beautiful. It's cool, fresh air. And I was like, I really felt at home. I could feel it in my heart almost like, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. So after that, I was thinking, I want to climb Kilimanjaro because at that time I've heard of other people who've done it. And the girl, my friend that I went with, she didn't do well in high altitude, so she didn't want to go with me. And then I tried to convince a lot of other friends, and none of them wanted to go. So I tried to like ask all sorts of people, "Do you want to go climb Kilimanjaro?" And none of them was like, "No, thanks," So in the end, I was thinking, I'm gonna do it, because I wanted to do it for almost 2 years, and then in the end, I was thinking, I'm gonna go. And then when I was ready to book it, it was fully booked. So I was like, I've waited 2 years to do it, and now I can't. So I started to read up on the web page of that company, and I saw Aconcagua, which is South America's, and I was thinking, oh, I like South America's. So then I went to an information meeting, and the guy was a really good salesman. So I ended up booking that, not knowing that that's 1,000 meters higher than Kilimanjaro, which is not really a beginner's mountain.
No.
And nobody told me, and I didn't know better. So thankfully, I got myself a personal trainer because I thought I'm not going to go there and not make it because I'm not fit enough.
Yes.
And he knew quite a bit, so he was like told me how much I had to train, and I was really well prepared. And end of a long story, we were 2 out of 10 that managed to get to the summit. It was me and
Wow.
another guy.
Wow.
So I was like, yay!
Yeah.
And
Achievement.
then I kind of thinking, okay, now I want to do Kilimanjaro, and kind of the list just grew and the snowball just went off from there.
So for quite a while then, it sounds to me like you were doing your corporate career and you were also climbing mountains in your kind of spare time.
Yeah, yeah,
So how did you make the leap into, because I think one of the reasons I thought you'd be fantastic to be interviewed is, what we do on this podcast is it's all about doing your Dharma. It's very much
yeah,
about living your spiritual purpose and following your highest excitement to the best of your ability with no expectation on the outcome. And we say
yeah,
when you do your Dharma, you're happier, you're healthier, you live longer, you have a deep sense of unshakable inner peace, you know.
true.
So when you actually do live your purpose, you really are living at a higher vibrational state, and your life is, super amazing. But it's quite the journey for people. So how did you go from doing both to then sort of saying, okay, I'm going to take the leap and I'm just going to do my passion?
Yeah. For me, it wasn't really like a volunteer leap, if I should say that.
Wasn't what,
Because
sorry?
it wasn't like a volunteer leap, if I could say
Right.
that.
Okay.
Because I was in that finance company that I worked for, and I was working way too much because they had somebody that was sick that I helped out taking over tasks for. But in the end, I worked too much for too long, so I had a serious burnout. Like I was sick for 2 years, you know. So I'm like I keep saying I do everything really well, and I did that really well as well. And I started to realize that they didn't want to change anything. So for me to heal, to go back to what made me sick, it doesn't make sense. You know, I didn't want to do that. So I agreed to leave the company, and instead of finding another job that I initially thought I would do, I was approached from a friend, and he asked if I wanted to freelance for him, which I did as a freelance project manager for many years, like a part time, and then in one period it took over almost. But then, almost thankfully, he lost the contract that I was working on. So I was thinking, okay, finally, now it's my time. I'm going to do my things, you know? Because so it kind of went on.
Wow. So it kind of evolved.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think this is the thing that we teach people in the Dharma Life Academy, that, your Dharma will unveil itself to you. You just have to have the courage to take the action. So,
yeah,
you can't necessarily know exactly everything's going to happen, but you can have the courage to take the action day by day by day and see it unfold in front of your eyes.
100%.
Yeah. So now your living comes from speaking, taking other people on treks, coaching,
Yeah.
anything else?
Well, I used to do some healthcare products or wellness products as well. I haven't done much lately, but it's always in the back, you know, because we all want clean products that
Yeah.
don't damage our health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And I read on your website, I was reading about the different things that you've done. You had an experience of going blind. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, because around the time when I got the burnout, I was approached to go climbing Everest, Mount Everest. And at first I was like, nah, I didn't want to do it. But well, a friend of mine almost talked me into it because he knew me and we climbed together. And he said, if you really want it, you can do this. Think about it. I want to have you in our expedition team. And in the end, I agreed and I joined, and I was, really into it. And 3 months down the road, he said, "Sorry, Siv, I'm not going." And I was like, "Seriously, you talked me into climbing, and now you're not going?" So I was sad for a half a day, and then I was thinking, I've decided to do this, so I'm going to go anyway. And I ended up taking over as the expedition leader from him. So I'm one of the very few women who's been expedition leader on Everest.
Wow, that's an achievement.
And then we were a small Norwegian team, and we went there in 2015. And before we know it, we were in the middle of the biggest earthquake in Nepal in 80 years, so 7.9 on the Richter scale, which was like a huge disaster, you could say. And as we cancelled, I decided that I was going to go back and climb Everest the following year, which I did without a big team around me, just with local logistic partners, etc. And when I summited on the summit, I lost my vision. I went blind.
First, did that happen?
Well, I had some problems with my oxygen masks. So basically, I didn't get enough oxygen, but I didn't like realize because you have so little oxygen anyway at that altitude. So, what I've learned now is that our eyes is the organ in the body that is most sensitive to lack of oxygen. So, to protect itself, it produces some liquid to protect the cornea, so the cornea shouldn't get damaged.
Wow.
And that liquid basically prevented me from seeing anything. So it started like when you get suntan lotion into your eyes, which is a little bit white, and then it kind of went total white after a while. So the biggest challenge became to climb safely down from the summit down to Camp 4.
How on earth did you cope with that? That must have been horrendous, like suddenly sort of 1 minute saying I can see, and then the next minute kind of not being able to see. Like, how on earth do you cope with something like that?
Well, I went into like focus, how can we climb? How can we get down? Because I know that if you can't climb yourself, nobody's going to carry you. It's not possible because it's too hard. So to be able to actually save my life, I needed to climb down, and I had an amazing Sherpa, and thankfully I was able to get another guy. So I had two guys that could help me because it's quite steep, so it's not so easy, I have to say. So it's a little bit like if somebody told me on forehand, I would have said it's impossible, but I've done it. It is possible, you know.
How do you do it physically? Like, do you have a Sherpa? Or do you hold on to the person in front of you and just walk kind of down? Or
Well, we had to do different techniques depending on how steep, etc. So some places where it was enough space, we actually held hands, but we all the time had to be into the rope because that's the safety. If somehow misstep or something, you don't fall. Because it's like on one side it's almost 2,500 meters down, on the other side it's almost 3,000 meters down. So you don't want to, oops, go out there. And then some parts I did rappel. So one guy rappelled first, the other guy helped me with the ropes, and he said like, okay, two steps to the right, one down, okay, one more to right. Now you can rappel 50 meters. So I was like, okay, you know. And then the other guy was down there saying, stop, stop, you're down. Because I didn't see anything. I didn't have no clue. And they had to do the ropes for me and all of that. So it took forever to get down compared to like a normal climb where you can see and do everything yourself.
unbelievable, Siv. That must have been the most scary experience of your life.
On some level it was, but I kind of got like a message or whatever you should call it just before I went blind because I started to lose the contours and I kind of got it will be as it should somehow. I got that message. Yeah, and that kind of maybe I was calm the whole time. I just focused on how can we do this together? How can we get down safely? I didn't go into that fear spiral because I knew that that would not be good.
Rather you than me. That is scaring me just thinking about it, let alone having to do it. My God.
Yeah,
Like I've climbed Kilimanjaro and I've done the Inca Trail, and
yeah,
and I can't imagine coming down the Kilimanjaro blind. Like that would just be one of the
nah.
hardest things. How long did it take? How long did it take you?
We from the summit. I was on the summit 9:30 in the morning, and I was in Camp 4 at 10 in the evening. And normally, I probably would use 3-4 hours, and so we spent much much more than that.
Wow. Yeah. My goodness me, that's a long time. 12,
And,
15 hours.
well, we left Camp 4 9 in the evening before, so we were out like on our feet that day for 30 no 25 hours, but we even left Camp 3 at 3 in the afternoon, so we kind of I was on my feet for 32 out of 36 hours, I think, the last 2 days of the climb.
Wow.
So in the end, I was so tired because on the mountain there is like places you know where you are. So when we were climbing down, I was asking, okay, where are we now? And they would tell me. And then in the end, I didn't want to ask because I didn't want them to say that we was far left. So I was kind of just keep on going, 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 And then in the end, I felt like it's kind of flattened out a little bit. So I was like asking, okay, where are we now? And they're like, oh, we're almost at the tent. And I was like, oh, thank you, thank you.
Oh my goodness. And how
Yeah.
long did it take for your sight to return
Within 24 hours.
of getting down?
Yeah.
And aren't you worried that if you go and do something like that again, it could happen again?
Well, because I talked to a doctor that is specialist in high altitude medicine, and he said that you've been really lucky because if this sets, it can become permanent. And I was like, I'm so glad I didn't know. And the second thing he said to me, it doesn't have to happen again. It could be like a once incident because of my broken oxygen mask. So he said, as you can just try and see. And I've been more than 6,000 meters already, and it was no problem. All good.
Wow, you're a brave woman. That's amazing. But that would put me off for life, I'd have thought.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it was a reason why it happened, and not only the broken oxygen mask, but people that know Chinese medicine. There was a woman that said to me, "Let me see eyes. Where are they connected to?" And she's like, "Oh, that's the liver." So, but in the Chinese medicine, it's a connection between the eyes and the liver. And when she said that, I was like, "Oh, yeah." Because when you have like a serious burnout like I had, that's affecting the liver as well.
Right.
So most likely my liver was weaker, which again was made it easier for my eyes to get this problem than somebody
Right.
else on the mountain.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So basically, if you look after your liver, then you're looking after your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I wonder what emotion, because I think liver correspond, obviously they correspond to different emotions as well. Be interesting to see what emotion that the liver corresponds to.
I think there's several of them, but anger is one of them that is in the liver.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So repressed anger, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating that the emotional connections to dis-ease in the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it
I
came,
find that.
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I find it quite fascinating how we can help heal our bodies and stuff with working on these, how we save emotions in our body.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And was it quite a spiritual experience for you?
Absolutely, and I think that climbing high altitude is much more spiritual than most people will understand because the Sherpas, most of them are Buddhist or a combination of Buddhist and Hindu,
Yes.
and we always have ceremonies before we go climbing. Many times we would go to a monastery and get a blessing of a lama, which is a Buddhist priest, if you can call it that. And then before, when we are in base camp, we will have a lama to come and do a ceremony with us, which is called a puja, and that would be like rite of passage where we actually ask the mountain to be able to go if we can come. And the Sherpas, they don't go climbing if we don't do the puja ceremony.
Really?
And also they have like in their stories like Everest for instance is a female consciousness, is a woman, and they have stories about five sisters, is some of these highest peaks in Nepal, etc. So it's taken me, and also being in that earthquake, seeing how they live, and because Buddhism is more a way of living than a religion, like at least how religion is in Norway. So it's quite interesting to see how they live and getting a little insight there as well.
And wasn't there a story that a Buddhist Lama saved your life?
Yeah, That was actually that earthquake year because when I was planning that expedition, the guy who did the logistics, he came to me and he said, Siv, we need to start later. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, well, I talked to the Lama about our expedition and he said, you shouldn't start so early. We should start like end of April. And I was like, that's almost a 1 month later and all everybody starts around 1st of April. So I was like, but that's going to be a problem. And in the end, I said, with all the respect for the Lama, so we can't start that late. And then in the end, we made a compromise. And after the earthquake happened, I calculated and I saw that we would have been in base camp that day where the earthquake started. And base camp was hit by an avalanche that was triggered by the earthquake. So 20 people was killed and 70 people severely injured by that avalanche that was triggered. And our camp would have been in the middle of all of that because it was hit. Some of our tents was damaged and everything. So, but we were thankfully not there that day.
Wow, that's an amazing story. So well done you for listening to your intuition and listening to the Lama.
Yeah. And even the day of the earthquake, I had like my intuition told me to turn around on the mountain. I was on my way to climb another mountain as a acclimatization hike, and I had this uneasy feeling, and I couldn't first put my finger on it. And in the end, I was like, you have to go down. And that made us come down the mountain and be in a place where we were able to run when the earthquake happened because we got a rockfall coming after us. So it was like, thank you for me turning around.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. But I would say you're probably pretty in tune with your spiritual path because we always say that when people are on the spiritual path, that their intuition is very strong. And obviously, you're doing your Dharma, so you're living the life that you're supposed to be living. So you're in alignment with your Dharmic path, which basically means that you're on your spiritual path and you're in alignment with what you're fulfilling your spiritual evolutionary work, which is no mean feat. A lot of people don't do it. I think it's scary, isn't it, getting out of your comfort zone and doing something different.
Yeah, and I used to be scared of heights. So
Wow.
people, yeah.
Can't imagine that, bearing in mind what you've done.
No, it's not there anymore, but I used to be like, oh my goodness, don't look down, so scary.
Yeah. Wow.
So but you can work on these things and yeah, now I can help others with which are scared in the mountains.
Yeah. And you are going to help others, aren't you? You're doing a challenge in the beginning of January.
Yeah,
Tell us about
I've
that.
called it the dream to reality.
Dream to reality.
Yeah. So the 6th of January, I start this challenge because there is so many people that they have these dreams about climbing a mountain or do a beautiful track or something, and then 5 years later, they're still talking about it and they're not done it.
Mm.
So I was thinking, okay, bring your dream to the challenge, and I will help you, work through whatever reasons you have for not being able to do it and help you start on a plan so you can do it.
Wow. Okay. So if you're signing people up for this challenge now, are you?
Yeah,
Okay. And how long is the challenge?
7 days.
7 day challenge. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's only $11, so it's not like it's too expensive for people, hopefully. I
Yeah.
want people to be able to join and start working on their dream.
And how can people find more about details about the challenge?
Go over to my Instagram. In the link in the bio, there is this 7 day challenge. They will find more information, and also you can ask me a question if there's anything unclear.
Okay, well, we'll put the link in the show notes. Um,
Mhm.
and then from memory, you also said that you're doing the Inca Trail soon.
Yeah, in end of June, I'm taking a group to Peru to do the Inca Trail, 4 days Inca Trail, the classical one, over to Machu Picchu. And then after that, we are going over to Lake Titicaca, to these floating islands, and to one of those other islands where you meet indigenous people of that area. So that's going to be amazing as well.
How many people are
Uh,
you going to take?
we are between 15 and 20 in total. And there's going to be a couple from UK, Adam and Anna Luisa, who are doing some amazing meditations and creating music in like 432, 528 hertz, etc., which is very amazing calming music for us. So we're gonna do some meditations both in Machu Picchu and Lake Titicaca as well with them.
I've done Machu Picchu, and that was a very spiritual experience. Getting up
Yeah,
very early in the morning to go through the gates into
yeah,
Picchu. It was just incredible.
yeah. To come to that gate of the sun where you see it and the sun is rising, it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, really beautiful, really beautiful. So you,
And there's a reason why the local people did everything they could to hide it from the Spanish when they came, to Peru that time when the Spaniards came.
I didn't know that. Is that
They did even some small wars, local wars in the sacred valleys, etc., to stop the Spaniards, so they shouldn't come into the sacred valley far enough to see it. And then because it's such a green and lush area, it overgrew and it was hidden for hundreds and hundreds of years.
wow? That's amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. Because is it an actual sacred site?
yeah, it is. It is a sacred site, and that's why they hid it.
Yeah. So okay. So the energy there must be incredible.
It is. It is. And both Machu Picchu, but also Titicaca is because you have some dragon lines that are coming there and crossing.
Okay. Ley lines.
Yeah,
Right. So the energy must be very high.
yeah. So
Yeah.
at Lake Titicaca, the feminine and the masculine ley line, or they call them dragon lines, are crossing there.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, and obviously churches are traditionally on ley lines.
yeah,
Yeah, the energy is much higher.
yeah,
Yeah. Really sacred energy and sacred space.
yeah.
Oh wow! So you got a great year. Anything else lined up next year?
I'm looking at maybe taking somebody to Kilimanjaro as well. I had some requests for that because sometimes people approach me for either a private group or if I can do a thing when I then open to other people. So Kilimanjaro would potentially be open to others as well.
Yeah, yeah. I did that back in probably about God, it must be quite a while ago now. It must be 10 years ago that I did that.
Yeah.
That was a very made a mistake though. I kind of rushed up the mountain and
Mhm.
kind of went very fast, trying to kind of keep up and get to the top. And then I just didn't. It's like a metaphor for life, rushing through life and then getting to the top and going, wow. But I
Yeah.
turned around and looked and I saw obviously what I'd missed because obviously I'd been rushing up the mountain. I hadn't really been taking my time. I hadn't been absorbing a view. I'd been just putting my head down and rushing up the top.
Yeah.
It's definitely a metaphor for life to slow down and smell the roses and not do everything too quickly.
See the sunrise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw the sunrise. Yeah, that was incredible through the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So beautiful.
so beautiful. Yeah, really amazing. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so people can come and join your challenge.
Yeah.
They can come and join you in the Inca Trail in June, and you might be doing Kilimanjaro as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What would you say to somebody who is wanting to do their Dharma, but is scared? Maybe they're sat in a job that they hate, but they wanted to do something like the Inca Trail, but they just, you know, they're feeling
I'm
scared.
thinking like if you don't like your job or if something in your life is not good, why are you keep doing it? Because I mean, it's like not easy to do what I do, but the rewards are so high that it's outweighing everything, And I'm thinking like there's so many people who are walking around in a maybe a job or a relationship or whatever. They're not happy, but they're not unhappy enough to do something about it. And I mean these excuses that people have for maybe they feel like maybe I'm not fit enough or maybe I don't have the money, all of that is possible to fix. You know, if you have a dream, there's a reason why you have it. It's because you're supposed to go do it. And the longer you,
dream without the capacity to be able to do it, are you?
yeah, no, you're not going to have that. It's a reason why you have it.
Yeah,
And it's a reason why it kind of comes back.
full circle.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, that's really good advice. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Siv, thank you so much for coming on the Dharma Life podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, for inviting me here.
No, not at all. And just while I've got you, your website is sivharstad.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your Instagram is
Siv Harstad.
Siv Harstad. Okay. And I'll put all the details in the show notes so you can find Siv if you're listening to this. But I encourage you to go and check out her challenge and go and check out her work. It's amazing.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week with another amazing guest on the Dharma Life podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the Dharma Life podcast. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please come over and say hello on my Instagram, our Facebook group, and also please let me know what you thought. So if you are listening, please take a screenshot of the podcast that you are listening to. Tag me on Instagram and I will reshare your post, and please let me know what it is that you got out of today's episode. Remember, when we do our Dharma, we are happier, healthier, we live longer, and we have a deep sense of unshakable inner peace.